The MG4 has been a massive sales success for MG since arriving in the UK back in 2022. And they've done so well with it, they decided to not only keep the old one, but also bring in a new one at the same time. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the MG4 EV Urban. Yes, this is the MG4 EV Urban, basically the twin sister, but also a different car still to the normal MG4. They're going to run both of them in parallel because one has a very different character to the other, and you can tell a lot about that from the styling. This one is much more friendly, more rounded and more docile compared to the more aggressive and sharply chiseled MG4 EV. So this one, you can see the nose is a lot softer, a lot more subtle. Same with the air inlets around the side, just the general proportions on the bonnet and the headlamps. They're much softer, much more cutesy appearance because this car is really intended for what it says on the tin, for the urban environment. And believe it or not, even though it is intended for the urban environment, this car is bigger than the standard MG4. It's about 10 or 11 centimeters longer, and it's a little bit taller as well. But I do think the looks of this car are better than those on the new MG4. I think this has got a more broader appeal that will appeal to both genders. I think it will do pretty well in that respect. I would say it feels, whereas the other MG4 felt a little bit tall, maybe like the axles were a little bit narrow, this one feels like the body is maybe a bit heavier than the wheels. You'll see the wheels over here. We've got 17-inch wheels. This is the premium version of this car, and the comfort version, you get 16-inch wheels. The wheels themselves, pretty cool. This is the same design you'll get on the MG Cyberster, and they look really cool with the kind of the polished face and the black spokes in the middle there. I think this car looks better on that size of wheel than on the 16, but still, it does feel a little bit like the body is a little bit wider and larger than the wheels that it's on. But this car does have a very different platform from the standard MG4, which I'll talk about later on, because it also gives us a larger cabin inside. It's more practical, but it's not quite as aggressive on the driving side. Again, all things I'll talk about later. Not really much else to talk about in terms of the styling. We do get standard normal door handles on this, so kind of no concealed pop-out handles or anything. We get roof rails. There's no chrome. Again, we get black around the windows. Nice little standard wing mirrors here. There's no frunk in here because it is a front motor, front driven car, this one, compared to the other MG4, which was rear driven or all-wheel drive, which also didn't get a frunk, by the way. But yeah, lovely soft subtle styling, nice big MG badge. Would have preferred a slightly better color, but there are some cool colors on this. Actually, there's a very kind of nice minty green. There's a real name for it that I forget. There's a nice blue color as well. So you get, I think, 6 or 7 different colors in this MG4. But where this car really excels compared to the standard MG4 is in practicality. So I'll show you that at the back. Much like at the front of the MG4 Urban, the rear here is also more rounded, more friendly. I would say it's a more balanced design. The normal MG4 had that very aggressive kind of tail light spoiler that felt a bit like an overbite, very aggressive down at the bottom as well. This one does feel a lot more balanced and a lot more subtle. I think this will appeal to more people. Like the other MG4 and the Cyberster, you get the same daytime running light that comes up at the side and all the way across the back there, with the Union Jack referencing there in the tail lamps. It is quite an attractive rear, this. I quite like it. We've also got a kind of a fake diffuser down there at the bottom, but not as aggressive as on the other MG4. Subtle spoiler at the top and a rear window wiper as well. What I like about this one is that we get the MG badge operating as our handle, like you used to get on Volkswagens. I like that. It's a good little nifty way of getting in. Now, the big difference between this and the standard MG4 is the space, because in the normal MG4 you get 383 litres of space, I think it is. In here, 577, which is quite a lot of space, and you get a dual height boot floor, so you can lower that or raise it to make a bit more space, higher or lower. And even then, underneath, 98 litres of space, so you can conceal some stuff under the boot floor as well. If you put the boot cover on, you can actually hide a person underneath the boot floor, which is, again, really impressive. So loads of space in there, useful little nets on the side for holding stuff, 60/40 folding rear seats, and we don't get anything else, I don't think. No 12V sockets or anything like that, apart from kind of tyre puncture repair kits and things. You don't get a full-size spare in this. You do get your charging cable under the boot floor. So yeah, Really useful in terms of space. Fold those rear seats down, you're probably going to get more like 1,000, maybe over 1,000 litres of space. So again, a really practical car this. You can tell it's bigger than the other MG4 by that respect. But let's check out what they've done with the interior. Inside the MG4 Urban, we get I would say a less premium feeling interior than on the larger and more expensive, admittedly, MG4. Simply because we get a lot more plastics. We get hard plastic up there, down here, on the center console, and on the top of the doors, where a lot of those surfaces are more soft touch in the other MG4. Nevertheless, it's not totally joyless. We get some nice bits of chrome on here, some soft touch materials here, kind of a rubbery wireless charging pad there, and a bit of soft touch stuff in the door. It's not terrible, but just not quite as premium as the MG4. Our seats, as you can see, are cloth, so we've got grey and black on there. I quite like cloth seats. I never see them in China anymore because everything's leather or faux leather. I like these because they work better on hot sunny days. And as you can see, lovely one-piece design, nice big side bolsters. This is quite a comfortable seat. It's an enjoyable place to spend your time. Great visibility around as well, and very easy to get a good driving position. You can sit very low in the car. Steering has good reach on it, so you can sit here and still see all your controls and feel very much in control of the car. So I do like it. We also get 6-way electronic adjustment on the driver's seat, so up, down, forward and backwards, and your backrest angle support as well. The other good thing, I think this is on all versions of the MG4 Urban, you get heated seats in the front and a heated steering wheel, which I love having in winter. Makes things so much better. Now let's talk about some of the similarities between this car and the other MG4. The main one is here in the middle, 12.8-inch touchscreen, which is a lovely slick system, lovely tabs for your climate, your app connections, your music, navigation, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, TikTok, all the things that you're going to want on there, and wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So no fannying around with cables, it's all there in the system. As I said, it is a good system. You get a 360-degree camera as well. That might only be on the top edition of this car, I'm not sure. Inside the settings, lots of useful stuff. We get ambient lighting in this car that we don't get in the other MG4, so a bit in the dashboard there on this kind of chrome panel. We also get some controls for our cluster in front of us. This is a 7-inch cluster, a bit smaller than that on the other MG4, but nevertheless all the information you need nice and clearly in front of you. And you've got the MG Pilot custom mode, which allows you to turn off all the bings and bongs that are standard and mandatory in Europe now. With a simple click, save all the settings, put it in there, nice and easy to do it, and get that off your mind every time you get in the car. Of course, the toolbar doesn't have any way to adjust your ventilation, but no worries, because we get the same manual controls here as in the other MG4, the same kind of high quality, quite metallic, very solid feeling dials and toggles on there. You've got 2 buttons for your misters, front and rear, and you can adjust your fan speed, your temperature, your direction of your fans, and your volume, all on there, nice and easy. I quite like this little setup actually. It's a bit easier and a bit more tactile than dragging it across the bottom of your screen. Now down here, things are a little bit different. So we get a bit more plastic for a start. Same, 2 big cup holders, reasonable little pocket there, and a big amount of space under the dashboard for putting bags and things. But we get a wireless charger here. It's not ventilated, so in summer it might get a little bit hot on there depending on how fast it charges. I'm guessing 15, but it could be a 50-watt wireless charger, I don't know. We've also moved our USB-C sockets from in here, useful little space in there, to down here. And again, it's 2 USB-C sockets, so no USB sockets, the standard ones anymore. What I do like about this car, and again you get this on the other MG4, is the new vent controls. They feel really solid to the touch, they look lovely, and you can control those all over the car. Really solid little toggles, really like it. Just brings up the overall feeling of quality inside the car, and the build quality is really, really good. The only thing that lets it down really is the plastic, but at this price point you're getting a very nice interior, and I'll tell you about the price during the driving section. But first off, let's check out the back seats, because I suspect that's where they're going to have the biggest difference between this car and the other MG4. Oh, one more thing, we also get 6 speakers in this car, so not the largest sound system in the world, but certainly does a decent job on the move. As I mentioned earlier, the MG4 Urban is a little bit bigger than the standard MG4. It's about 11 centimeters longer, a little bit taller, and it also comes with cell-to-body technology, which means that the battery pack is part of the structure of the car, which gives you much more footroom inside the cabin compared to the standard setup on the MG4. And nowhere is that more keenly felt than here in the second row, which is significantly more spacious than the other MG4. If you've seen that video, you'll see that in the back, behind my own driving position, I'm 5'10", I had about 3 fingers of knee space and not a lot of footroom. In this car, I've got full thigh support, I can stretch my legs out, plenty of wiggle room under there, even though that seat is as low as it'll go, and loads of space for my knees, as well as decent headroom as well. So this will be a much more comfortable car to spend long journeys in if you're going to be sat in the back. Now, as I said, it is a little bit less premium in the back seats, same in the other MG4. So basically plastic all down there, just a little bit of soft stuff on the door. But we do get electronic windows, we get 2 speakers in the back, we get metallic feeling ventilation controls. They're quite nice, again, quite solid, USB-C socket and a bit of space down there. But the big thing here really is the space. We also, by the way, get Isofix mountings concealed behind this kind of fabric pocket. So you've got to move each side out of the way. Not quite as direct, as accessible as something like on the Polestar that I'm driving at the minute, where you can just open it up and it's very clear, but you know, it's pretty useful. I would just say though, it just feels very spacious. I actually would enjoy doing a long journey in the back of this car. But is it as fun to drive as the other MG4? You join me in the all-new MG4 EV Urban, and the real difference between this and the standard MG4 kind of sits in that name, because that differentiates the 2 different audiences of these cars. The MG4 that you know and love if you've driven it is much more kind of dynamic, much more grown up. It's, I would say, it feels like the bigger car. This one very much focused on an urban audience, and all of that essentially comes down to the way this car is set up compared to that one. Whereas the other MG4 is on what I think is called the MCB platform, which is rear wheel drive or all wheel drive, this one sits on the E3 platform, which is only front wheel drive. What that means is we get a bit less power, we get smaller batteries, we do get a tighter turning circle of just 10.5 meters on this car, which is a noticeable difference if you drive the 2 cars back to back like I have today. But it also changes the ride quality, because this car gets a torsion beam suspension on the rear rather than multi-link suspension like on the slightly more expensive and more grown-up MG4. What that means is there is a compromise in terms of the ride quality. You will feel this car getting, it basically takes, you feel more of the bumps. Britain's roads appear to be very chopped up, having come back here. Pretty bad road quality. You'll feel more of that in this car. You'll also get quite a bit more road noise, I think. And I can't prove that because I don't have a sound tester, but I do think this car is a little bit louder inside than the other MG4. Now, neither of them are bad. I'm not going to say that it's like terrible ride quality. I'm just saying that compared to the other MG4, this one does have a noticeably worse ride quality than the other one. But again, as I said, both of them pretty good. And this one is the more agile of the 2, so great for urban environments, tight car parks, turning around in tight spaces. So that is the benefit of having the front wheel drive platform. Now let's talk a little bit about the power. As I said, it's a bit down on power compared to the other MG4. So on the Comfort standard version, you get 101 kilowatts. Bear in mind the base version of the other MG4 is 140. And on the 2 long range versions, so Comfort and Premium, you get 118 kilowatts. So all of them are less powerful than the other car. That'll give you 0 to 62 mile per hour, 100 kilometer per hour acceleration times of about 9 seconds. Yeah, not really bad, to be honest. I mean, they're perfectly acceptable in terms of the speeds. It's just going to be less of an exciting car than those 2. So yeah, a little bit slower, a little bit less fun. I have to say though, in terms of the driving experience, it's all right. You get 5 different settings on this. So you get Eco, Normal, Sport, Snow and Custom. And in Sport mode, as usual, the steering becomes a bit more feelsome, a little bit more responsive. The accelerator becomes more responsive. You still get 4 different levels of brake regen, including 1 pedal driving. and all of those are really good. So it's still a car that you can enjoy driving, to be honest, but you will feel the difference. You'll notice that this car feels like it's being pulled rather than pushed down the road because of the difference in power and the difference in drivetrain setup. Now, in terms of the batteries, again, we also get smaller batteries. A 42.8 kilowatt hour LFP battery on the Comfort standard range, and a 53.9 kilowatt hour NMC battery on the Comfort long range and Premium long range. That will give you range of 201 miles on the WLTP cycle in the Comfort standard, and either 258 or 251 miles in the Comfort and Premium long range versions. The differential between those two is that you get a little bit more kit on the Premium version, and you get larger wheels too. So we get 17-inch wheels on our car, the other two get 16-inch wheels. And in terms of charging, it's also a little bit slower at charging than the other MG4, so 82 kilowatt DC fast charging on the smaller battery and 87 on the larger battery. Not going to set the world alight in terms of, you know, charging speeds, but given that most of the chargers in the UK are somewhere between 50 and 150, it's a pretty reasonable compromise. You're not really losing out on charging speeds there. So overall, quite a decent setup. Now, one thing I haven't tried is the ADAS. I mean, you do get a full suite of safety features in here. So you got emergency lane keeping, rear driving assist, blind spot detection, lane change assist, rear cross traffic assist, door opening warning. Absolutely no shortage of safety features in this car, and it has also already got a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating. So it's really good in that respect. And as it's a really nice car to drive. Visibility, very good all the way around. I think it's just slightly less refined than you'll get in the other MG4, but it works really well. Now, the best bit about this car is the prices, because the base version, so the Comfort standard range with the £1,500 EV grant, starts at just £21,995, which is excellent value for money. Now, this kind of car is going to be, at that price point, is going up against things like the BYD Dolphin Surf. And it's obviously a bigger car than the Surf, particularly in terms of storage space. It's a bit more powerful. I think charging is slightly faster on this car as well, and it's definitely more powerful and faster in terms of speed, with probably a bit more kit in at the same time. So you can see that it's really good value, £21,995. Not in China, but here in the UK, very, very good value. And for the Comfort long range version, you're looking at £25,495 before that £1,500 EV grant. And the flagship version, the Premium long range, is £27,995, so £26,495 with the EV grant. Again, really good value, those. I mean, overall, it's just a very competent small family car, this. And if you need a lot of space, I don't think you can, there's probably not much better than this, I would say. Having not been totally up to date with the UK car market, there's probably not much out there. It certainly looks very spacious in the back, loads of space there. And yeah, it just rides fine, quick enough, and very affordable. Can't argue. So that's it for our review of the MG4 EV Urban. And is it going to be confusing for potential customers having two different MG4s? Probably, yes. But if the marketing team can successfully highlight the very different characters of the Urban and the standard MG4, they could be onto a winner on both counts. I mean, in particular, this car, yes, it's not quite as exciting, it's not quite as performance oriented, and not quite as premium inside, but the clue is in the name, Urban. It's a compact car with loads of space in the interior, particularly in the second row and in the boot, so it's very practical on that side. Yes, you get smaller motors, but you get a smaller turning circle, you get better fuel economy, not quite as much range, but I think it is a really good compromise. And given the amazing price point of this, I can only see this being a success if they get the word out, because there's a lot of small electric cars coming over from China, and they're coming in at very, very good price points, but most of them are significantly smaller than this, and yet this is only a little bit more expensive. and it offers a lot more in terms of space inside. It's an incredibly good value for money car, and I can see it really helping MG with their currently the top 10 in terms of sales in the UK. It could even push them even higher than that. I think this is a really, really good car. I love the way that it looks. It's just not quite as exciting to drive, but given what you're paying for it, I think outstanding value. Thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see the great Chinese cars here in the UK and coming out of China. And as ever, we'll catch you next time.